Okay, and finally, here we are for page 3 of the congruence notes. Hopefully you liked this a little bit better, me going through 3 different videos so you didn't have one big long video to watch, and also that way if you found that you had a question on one of the later pages, you didn't have to watch the entire video for the whole thing. So hopefully you like this method a little bit better. But here we are, continuing with congruence. So this time I have 2 quadrilaterals. I can see that it's FNDY is congruent to JQLW, but all of this stuff works exactly the same way whether you're in a triangle or in a quadrilateral. So for the very first one, the measure of angle W, I want to know the measure. So I see the equal sign, so that means I want a number here. So if I look up here at W, first of all, I can see that W is going to be with Y. Well, neither W or Y right now has a measure there. But I can see that Y is congruent to F. Y and F are the same. Well, that means that if Y and F are the same, then that means W and J are the same. So J and W are the same. So all 4 of those angles that I have circled, they're all congruent to each other. So that means that W is 74, and Y is 74, and F is 74. Those are all the same. So that means that the measure of angle W is going to be 74 degrees. Now, angle D is congruent to, there's actually a few different answers that you could have here. Just like W, J, F, and Y are all the same, I can see that D, N are both the same, and D and N are the same as Q and L. So all 4 of them are going to be 106 degrees. So this one is asking for an object. Angle D is congruent to what angle? I could say angle N, I could say angle Q, or I could say angle L. All of those are congruent to angle D. Now, ND is congruent to, this one only has one option. ND is this side up here, and I can look at my congruence statement and see that ND are the middle 2, so that's the same as QL down there. So ND is congruent to QL. And again, I see the congruence symbol, so I know I want an object there, not a number. Now for FN are my first 2 letters, so that's the same as JQ, and JQ is here, so that's going to be 6 inches. So again, with an equal sign, you want a number. With a congruent sign, you want an object. So now, these are just congruent statements that they've mixed the letters up, so we just have to follow along with the letters. So this one's LWJQ. So I can see L is the same as D. I can see that W is the same as Y. J is the same as F. And Q is the same as N. And then I can do the same thing for the next one. Again, just match the letters up. So N is the same as Q, D is the same as L, Y is the same as W, and F is the same as J. So you just have to match up your letters. They're just mixing them up, so we're just going to mix them up as well. And finally, perimeter. This is the first time that we've talked about perimeter, but hopefully you remember the perimeter is just the outside edge. So the perimeter of FNDY is going to be the same as the perimeter of this one. Both quadrilaterals are exactly the same, so the perimeters are the same. So I can see, let me change colors real quick. I can see that this bottom here is 1 inch, the top here is 3.5 inches, and this side is 6 inches. Well, I don't have this side. I don't have WL, but if you look over here, these 2 sides are the same. So if those 2 sides are the same in that quadrilateral, then they're the same in this quadrilateral as well. So this is also 6 inches. So now I can just add those 4 numbers up. 6 plus 6 plus 1 plus 3.5 is going to give me 16.5. So that's going to be my perimeter, 16.5 inches. So I know there was a lot going on there, and I have all different colors and everything circled and everything. When you go from problem to problem, if you just want to do that with your pencil and then erase it for the next one so you can see what else matches up, that's fine. But hopefully the colors and everything helped you. Okay, now for this one we have two triangles that are kind of stuck together. Okay, but we still have the congruence statement telling us that WXZ is the same as YXZ, and I can see that they share that side right there. Okay, now if you want to, I haven't been doing this, but I'm going to show you a different method here. Before I even look down at the bottom, before I look and see what they're asking for, I can fill some things in up here. Like I know if this triangle is the same as this one, that means that this down here is also going to be 2 centimeters. I know that this over here is going to be 5 centimeters. I know that this is going to be 90 degrees, and this angle over here will be 60 degrees. And now I'm still missing these little angles up here, but remember, to get them, I have 2 angles in the triangle, so I can just take 180 minus 90 minus 60, and that gives me 30 degrees for these little angles up here. So you can always do that first and fill in the pictures. Just because these are touching doesn't mean that it's any different. If I go back to these, I could have filled all of these in first and just looked, fill in all my sides, fill in all my angles. You could fill in absolutely everything with both, and then you can go down and fill in your answers. So now that I've filled in my triangles, I can look and see what they're asking for. So angle YXZ, so YXZ is that orange angle there. So the measure of that is what they want. The measure of YXZ is 90 degrees. Now, angle Y, this angle over here, is congruent to what angle? Well, if I look at my congruence statement, Y is congruent to W. And again, this is a congruent symbol, so we want the object. We don't want the measure. Now, measure of angle YZX. Let's change to a different color here. YZX. YZX is that pinkish angle up there, so that's going to be 30 degrees. Now, WX, this is equals, this is asking for a number, so WX goes from here to here. WX is 2 centimeters. And now ZY, again, let me switch colors. How about green? Okay, so ZY is from here to here. And ZY, I can see, is the same as ZW. So that's going to be this one over here. And again, you see the congruence symbol. That means they're asking for an object. Now, the very last one is they're asking for the perimeter of WZY. Well, that's the whole triangle. WZY. That's the whole big triangle. So I need the outside of that. So I'm going to add up 5 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2. It's going to give me 14. So my perimeter is 14 centimeters. I'm not going to add the 4.5 in because it's not part of the perimeter. I just want the outside of the big triangle. Alright, so here we have 2 triangles again that are connected to each other. But if I look at my congruence statement, I can see FGD is congruent to GFE. So that means if DG is 5 meters, DG are my last 2, that means FE is also 5 meters. And if FD, the outside 2, and GE is the outside 2, that means that this side would also be 12 meters. And then with angles, this one up here would also be 65 degrees. Because I'm looking at DGF. DGF is going to be the same as EFG. EFG. And then to find my missing one, I'll take 180 minus 65 minus 90, which gives me 25 degrees as my other two angles. So now I've filled everything in, so I can go ahead and answer these questions. So, oh, I missed one. E, the very first one I missed. Angle D and angle E are the same, so this would also be 90 degrees. Okay, now I've filled everything in. So the measure of angle E is going to be 90 degrees. Again, if you see the equal sign, that means a number. FD, again, we want a number here because that's an equal sign, so FD is 12 meters. EF, oh no, I forgot my symbol here. This should be a line there, and I forgot it. So please add that in over EF. So EF is congruent to, now again we want an object here, I see the congruent symbol, so EF is congruent to DG. Angle GFE is congruent to, so again I have an object I want to put here. So GFE is congruent to angle FGD. And now for this one we want a number because the measure is equal to. So FGE is equal to 25 degrees. And then the perimeter of the rectangle. So that means I want the perimeter of the entire outside of the rectangle. So I'm going to take 5 plus 5 plus 12 plus 12 gives me 34 meters. So just remember that perimeter means the outside of whatever they're asking for. All right. Again, I hope you are really enjoying these videos and they're helping you through the notes. If you have any questions, feel free to watch the video again or ask me.